This week on the Park It On podcast, match reports are back. We've started our pre-season trials. We go into a bowling tournament's website. And of course, a little bit of Schuey's wisdom. It's time to Park It On. Welcome back to the Park It On podcast. It is finally time for us to start season 1 properly. Our first full season of weekly match reports and other cool stuff in the world of lawn bowls every single Thursday morning. My name is Riley, I'm a Div 5 bowler, and my co-host is the online, the lupine, the man with a killer Nissan Skyline, Mr. Jimmy.
G'day. Now, I'll apologise at the top here. I'm sort of coming in and out of sickness at the moment, so I probably sound a bit rough. Yeah, it's good to be here. It's good to be playing bowls again. Well, properly playing bowls, I guess.
We're not quite at sheep station levels, but it just feels so much sweeter when you park a good one on nowadays. The sun's out, the weather's beautiful, the people are fantastic. We're having a great time. Oh, Jimstar. So yes, season's coming up. We've got a whole month worth of trials coming through. And last Saturday, we played a little bit of bowls trials. Now, the format of these ones out at Grange were 2 games of different amounts of ends. And if you're in the 3 or a 4, I played, I reckon, 13 ends to start my first one off. And then we played 10 to do our second. I was playing with a set of trips to start off. So we did 13 ends because triples go a bit quicker than 4s. We got all of our 13 done, and I reckon we were waiting around for about half an hour for everyone else to finish their matches so that the coaches could swap people around. Which was a bit of excitement, that one. But yes, it was a good time, you know. A bit of bowling, bit of parking some stuff on. Everyone seemed to have a pretty alright day out, whether they were bowling well or not. We were all enjoying the sunshine and the company. Can't complain too much, Jimstar? Yeah, so we swapped the teams and opponents around in the second half. Which meant that I went from the triples to the 4s, and yeah, it was a pretty cool time. You know, it's good to be out on the greens and just sort of actually playing for realsies. It was good. Going into the first game we played, we did a bit of leading in the. See, we don't have divisions, but obviously people are playing with various strengths of people, and I was playing with a couple of the Premier League skips on Saturday morning. I was leading for him. We played 13 ends, and we won in a bit of a nail biter. You know, it was really close matched. I reckon we were 6-7, 7-7 in that last couple ends, and then we just cracked them right at the finish line, which was really nice to see. You know, obviously, a couple of average ones, a couple of dodgies in there, but that's bowls. You know, you're allowed to have a couple of off ones, Jimstar. But something I want to introduce to the Park It On cinematic universe is my new rating system for my bowling. So this is something I've just sort of come up with. I'm sure that other people have come up with it too. And if you're trying to go, oh, I've thought of that first, go away. Basically, I'm rating my ends A to F, letter grade, and they've got a numerical value to them, which means I could do a numerical value, but too many numbers makes my head hurt. I like the letter. A through to F. A is +3, F is -3. There's no 0 grade in here, so we're just cruising with a +1, 2, 3, -1, 2, 3 in this fella. And I just sum it up at the end of the game. It gives me an indication of how well I played, pretty much. Yeah, so that first game, I had a couple of Ds, 1 E, but ultimately the overall score was an 8, which is pretty alright for a 13-end game, I think. But we'll see in due course how effective this rating system is, especially over the course of a 21-ender, or depending on how well I'm going and where I'm playing, potentially 25-ender throughout the rest of the season. Yeah, that first game, pretty good.
Did you just have that in a notepad, or?
Yeah, brother, I got a little black notebook. I got my little black book. It's a. Do you remember the rapper Watsky?
Yeah.
George Watsky, yeah. I bought his merch, I reckon, in 2018, 2019, of which there were little notebooks. So I have this little, like, it's not an A5, it's like maybe an A6, but like slightly shrunk. So it's just a little pocket fella, and it's just like perfect size for me to chuck in, like, you know, game, venue, position, division, how many ends, score, and then just like mark my ends.
Yeah.
It's like a good little thing. I also use it as a notebook to play a game called The Paynes Creek Killings, which is, incidentally, my favorite video game of all time. Just like 10 out of 10 experience. Well, it's a 9 out of 10, but it's a 10 for me because I love it so much, right? There's a really cooked final section. And it's just sort of sitting around. I'm like, I could use this for something. I could use this for something. And then I worked out, you know what? I want to improve my bowling. I want to get a bit of data. And so I just have my little book with me, just cranking them suckers out in my bag, which is a bit of fun. Yeah. So like I said, we played 2 games. Second game, came alive. Started parking some suckers on. And this is where my first A of the actual ranking system came out. I parked some suckers on. I was playing the jack through. It was a really tight, fun lead battle with my opponent, actually. And now, keen listeners of the podcast may remember that there are a handful of bowls clubs where I've just had bad experiences. I'm sure it's not a reflection on like the actual people at the club. Just like, for some reason, lucky me, I run into a wanker every now and then. And this guy is a convert. He's come over from the Brighton Bowls Club. And Brighton Bowls Club, famously, I don't like playing against because every time I play them, I cop a wanker rink, I reckon. I just don't. Yeah, I know. The last time we played was all right, but the previous 2 times, they just carried on something fierce. Not a fan of the way that certain people there go about things, but they can come and go and do whatever. Doesn't matter. Point being, this guy's from the Brighton Bowls Club. He played lead against me, and he bloody gave me a run for my money. He was absolutely parking those suckers on. He was just sending them. It was really fun to play him. It was like we were having a full-on singles match out on the green, and then just other people did shit around us. That's the best way that leading can go. Absolutely cranking some suckers out. Yeah, it was a good time. He's a very intense person. Be interesting to play a bit more with him, I reckon, because he has that demeanor about him where when you're talking to him, you are just captivated. Like there's nothing else going on in the world. You are speaking to this person, and that is what's going on. That's the most important thing in your world right now. It was very interesting sort of energy on the green there. It was fun. I had a good time. Got an A in the parking some suckers on. Did finish with an E when we were tied up, which lost us the game, I reckon. But, there's only 2 bowls out of 8 that get delivered from you on any rink of 4s. And there's bloody 40-odd bowls a game from you. Doesn't really matter too much if you miss one. But yeah, no, I'm pretty happy with that. Second game, I scored a 10, plus 10. So 2 positives to start the trial season off. And I reckon we're on for some good stuff. Yeah. How'd your games go, Jim?
Look, it was a weekend for me to forget overall, really. The first game I played lead in both. The first one I played lead against a bloke that had blown in from Broken Hill. Lovely bloke. We had a good chat about bowls and sort of small town bowls clubs and the like. A lot of my game on the weekend was starting strong, doing really poorly from that strong start, and then the last end sort of doing really well. The first game, I think the first 3 ends, my first bowls were touches, but it just sort of wasn't a good one. Like a couple of them were good. They sort of trailed them along, but it's, you're not trying to do that every end. You're just trying to get close, but it is what it is. Second game was very much sort of the same. So the first game I was in a 4s, second game I was in a triples. Same sort of echoey sentiment where the first end was quite good. The second end might have been okay, but then it sort of went downhill from there, and then I ended quite strongly. A lot of it came down to, I think, a lot of mental. Like, I think I got down on myself because I wasn't bowling well, and it, in turn, made me bowl worse. But I'm sort of chalking it a bit up to rust. I didn't play the week before because I was at my engagement party. But yeah, I think this weekend will be the real tester for me, coming off the weekend we just had. But yeah, that's sort of where my head was at for most of the day. Just sort of, what am I doing? Yeah, that was sort of my 2 matches. It was a bit of a weekend to forget for myself. I think we lost the first game by a couple where we were up really early on. And then the second game we won by 1, thanks to a bowl of theirs that knocked the jack between my 2 bowls to then win us.
So you got the winning shot.
So yeah, technically I got the winning shot.
That's a win. We take the wins, big fella.
Very arsey.
Nah. I do hear what you're saying. When you're coming into this sort of environment, especially since I don't know heaps of your sporting background, right? Like we come from different sporting backgrounds. For me, this is like the start of me going, fuck yeah, I'm into this, right? But I don't know how competitive you've really been.
Not much at all.
Doing, yeah. I think that perspective shift and that seriousness shift is a really tricky transition to make, especially if you are still learning, and you are. Like, this is a game that you started playing properly a year ago, right? Yeah. There's going to be points where it might be a little bit out of the way for you. You might have a bit of an off one, but the whole point to keep in mind is that, if you looked at yourself a year ago, you're like, yeah, that's pretty good. I can achieve that. Right? You're sort of just pushing up and up and up and up. We're not looking to go into Prem straight away. You're not looking to be at that position where, you have to be on from end 1 to end 25. You have room to learn and grow and develop. And it's a really special place to be when you're doing a sport. You don't really get that opportunity much when you're playing as an adult. So we'll chalk it up to a bit of rust, like you said.
Bit of rust. I think maybe I was feeling a bit rough that morning.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not trying to make excuses, but I was feeling a bit rough after I had some proper food and sort of calmed down after it. I went out with Ethan and you, and I was bowling him really well. So hopefully that is a precursor to this weekend. So
yeah, far out. That little pracky session we had afterwards, and I was bowling so bad. I reckon I was getting so tired towards the end of it, man. Like,
yeah.
For me, my endurance, because I'm thinking about everything going on all the time during a game, I come off the rink at 21 ends and I'm exhausted, right? So, I reckon my stamina let me down towards the end of that last game, and then into that pracky session where I was sort of putting stuff down, and I was like, I'm not on planet Earth. Like,
yeah.
that's me done. Yeah. We've both got stuff to work on and to grow from. That's really good. If you had everything perfectly correct from second one, you'd be a Josh Walker Davis type, just winning tournaments all over the shop.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good time. We love a bit of growth, bit of progression, and you're gonna go out there and fucking smash it this weekend. I say you because I'm covering a work shift this weekend, so I'm gonna earn a bit of cheddar. It'll pay for some CC and dries, and I'll be back playing some bowls straight afterwards. So yes, bit of trials action, bit of gym trial action next week, and then we'll be into it. I reckon it's. Do you remember the trials layout? Like, we're doing 2 or 3 internals,
hang on,
and then we're playing against clubs for the rest of it.
Yeah, it's in my Google Calendar. Like, properly went through and added it all. So this weekend internal trial game. Then next Saturday it is a trial game at Grange against Westlakes. Then it is the grand final weekend, so there's some social bowl stuff, barbecue stuff, no trials. And then the weekend after that, it is Lockley's at Grange for the last trial. And then I think the Wednesday after that is the Wednesday trial, which, for obvious reasons, I won't be able to attend. And then that weekend is when we start, the 11th.
Some exciting stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. Yes, it's going to be some serious gear, which means you're going to be squatted up, and next week we'll have to take a full squad photo with the fins up. Speaking of fins up, Ryan does not like the fins up.
Yeah, you said that. He's not a fan.
Yeah, he's not a fan of the fins up, and I was like, what's wrong with you, buddy? Do you hate fun or something? I was chatting to him when we were playing, because we played on the same team in the second game. I did a good shot, and I was carrying on. I'm like, yeah, going well, whatever. Fins up, and he was like, never do that again. And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about, big fella? Like, fins up, let's go. It's like, nah, I hate that. So now at every opportunity, boom, bit of fins up action on ya. We might be drafting him in to play a fours with us somewhat soonish. And so every time we do a good one, fins up, brother. Gonna get him. We'll get him around. Yeah, and since we're chatting about a bit of bowls tournaments, Jimster, you found a website. Give us the lowdown, because I know nothing about this.
Speaking earlier about Josh Walker Davis, he talked about this in one of his latest YouTube videos. So this guy ranked second in Australia for lawn bowls, and his methodology of doing that, as he claims he's not that good, is basically all he does is backpacks around Australia and plays bowls tournaments. And I was like, how does he do that then? Partially because South Australia isn't very huge on their like tournaments like this. It's a lot more sort of club tournaments, a lot more state run stuff. Whereas through this website, all their logos say DRT Bowls, but the actual URL is bowlstournaments.com.au. Is basically a directory where you can sign up as a bowls club and post your tournaments. And funnily enough, it was started in New South Wales, and 98% of the tournaments that are on there are New South Wales tournaments. The other 2% are in the Gold Coast. Funnily enough, that's where all the bowls is in Australia, basically.
Well, the bowls money is maybe, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. It's where all the money's made. And it was like that chat that we were having. Sorry, you'll hear my dog going.
Yeah, Vicky's spotted a shadow on the ceiling. Look out.
He's been really good with that lately. I think it's just people are probably talking out the back or something. And it's like what you were saying when we were talking about the whole super center stuff is that's just normal in the eastern states. And I was saying to someone at Grange on the weekend, I can't remember who it was, but I basically said, I really wish I knew about all of this when I lived in Wagga, because every second tournament on here is in Wagga or like a town that is half an hour away. And the pots are massive. Like, I mean, this is the Wagga Masters pairs, but $200 per team pairs with prize pool of $8,000.
Yeah, it's pretty right.
If you're on the eastern coast of Australia, this is probably going to help you out a lot more. I'm not sure if there will be any SA places that sign up. I might try and spruik it a bit around if I hear people talking about tournaments, but
yeah, we'll start getting them on the action. I reckon we'll get going. We're not sponsored by them.
No, absolutely not. But yeah, went through and I followed all of them on Facebook and stuff. I just found it really interesting. I'm guessing they also fund the website because they have a book accommodation page. I'm guessing that's probably how they also fund the website. One thing I just found in here, by the way, that I feel like you would really like this as well, was I came across a tournament at Campbelltown Bowls Club in New South Wales. And when I looked at their logo is a ghost.
That's based as hell.
Yeah, so I don't know whether that, like, they must do, maybe they don't do pennant and that's just sort of a thing, but if they're the Campbelltown Ghosts, that's unbelievably based. Yeah.
Okay, so I found a photo on their website that's got the 2024-25 Open Pennant, like, winners flag. So I reckon they do play pennants.
Yeah, okay. But if they're
that's
the
a cracker
ghosts...
though. You're just like, yeah, they're the ghosts. That's cool as hell.
That's really cool. I reckon more bowling clubs need to have, like, left field, out of the way type mascots.
They're a division of the Campbelltown Catholic Club. I want a pin from them. Absolutely. Bring back the bowls pins, honestly. No, that's cool as hell. I'm going to hit those guys up, try and get a pin or two sent over for us.
That'd be cool.
Sick. Yeah. Oh, Jimster, there's lots going on. There's lots of things cooking on in the background. Like we got some little things. We've planted some seeds. We're going to let that grow a little bit. We'll let it germinate, let it move along. That's a nice little quick one this week, you know.
Yeah.
Bit of a trials update, bit of a everything else going on update. And then, you know, once the season's properly underway, we can do a bit more of what's going on around the place. But as for right now, Jimster, I think it's time for us to get wise and go for a little bit of Schuey's wisdom.
Well, I've got my number here.
And I've got my book. Recording was delayed earlier because I could not for the life of me find where I'd left the book, because normally it lives on my desk when we recorded these things. But I put it back on my bookshelf. And because I was tidy and organized, I freaked out. I was like, no, I can't find the book.
All right, so the page number today is 189.
189, that's a new one. Alrighty. 189. Oh, Jimstar, this is a cracking subheading. This page, Jimster, is called Killer Instinct. An athlete who possesses a killer instinct is an athlete with a never-say-die attitude who always fights to the death. These athletes can be virtually unstoppable if they get an advantage on the scoreboard because they know how to put their foot on their opponent's throat if they show any signs of weakness. This is the type of athlete you want on your team. Killer instinct is not something you are born with, it's a specific skill that can be learned and developed. Many spectators recognize it when they see it, but few know where it comes from or how to get it. People are often confused and vague when it comes to defining killer instinct.
That's what I want.
Based as hell. And then the next subheading on like page 191 after all the gear of that is mental toughness.
That's what I need.
That's some good gear, brother. All right, Jimster, if people want to get in touch with us, get their stuff on the pod, where can they go?
Look, they can either DM us on Instagram at parkitonpodcast, or there's comments on like the podcast on Spotify and stuff. I don't really check it. I don't think we get an email if people like write anything. But other than that, we've got an email, parkitonpodcast@gmail.com. So if you want to flick through anything like your CC and dry prices, your rules questions, or your fun stories from the bolo, chuck them through on there or on the Instagram.
Yeah. Well, go well in your trial this Saturday. I'll be thinking of you while I'm working, earning a bit of money. Guess until next time, Jimster, it's a goodbye from me.
And a goodbye from me.